been watching the ERLs. This is an AD carry matchup for the ages here. And we're going to be going directly into this here right now. First bans here, we're going to be seeing a lot of the Voxness champion pool getting removed here. The Nico being taken away instantly.
Gooby, given that both of these guys are Danish, who do you actually think's better?
Are you asking me? To rate these two guys?
Yeah.
That's a tough choice. I mean,
see, now
it's
that,
like
now
my two
that,
children,
now
right?
Danish
The thing
differential.
is, having seen how the Voxner works behind the scene as well, and some of the other implications that he has as to team outside of his very high mechanical skill, I am gonna go with him. I will say Den Voxner, even though I think Gooby is really, really good as well. Don't take anything away from that. I just think Den Voxner, especially in the NLC, is a bit more proven.
One of Lucian or Zeri could be up, or they're saying that they know Gooby can't play one of Lucian or Zeri. Because right now, both are on the table. You have a Maokai ban, which would generally indicate to me that Verdant would be thinking about going for that Zeri first pick. But then you did the Milio ban, so the Lucian one. So we could see Lucian. Lucian did lose the one game that we saw today. And I'm going to be real, that seems to be very common in the last few weeks. Every time Lucian's picked, I actually just see it lose. But it's still heavily prioritized. Verdant have banned the Lucian. The Zeri is up. Will we just see the Zeri be banned?
Ban the Zeri. I don't want to cast Zeri. Come on, man.
I mean,
maybe I'm smart enough to
it's
ban
so
it.
weird.
I'd expect the Nativz to be pretty happy with the Zeri ban because especially when you look at like Den Voxner, like he's very happy to play the Aphelios, for example, right? Like he's very happy to go down that route here. Lulu first pick here coming through, veteran, and you're kind of saying that with regret to a certain extent. Take us through why you hate this or why you dislike this to a certain extent.
Okay, so I don't like... So it's been 2 years of Jinx Aphelios, and I'm getting a bit done with it, alright? And there's only so many times I can say, like, blue... at some point, I'm going to have to actually learn the names of the Aphelios guns. That's how bad it's getting, right? A Lulu opening sets up either an Aphelios into Jinx, because the theory there is that Aphelios with Lulu can face tank into the superior range of the Jinx's damage, and be able to get into a range where he can actually do something to her. But if Aphelios ends up being put by Nativz and you get Jinx with the Lulu, the theory is much simpler. We've won the game. So the Lulu already sets up that they're thinking about this particular kind of dichotomy. The only real way that Nativz could throw a spanner in those works is by doing what they're doing now. Daring you to pick either the Aphelios or the Jinx and having some other kind of setup in mind. I do still think Jinx goes well into an Aphelios Lulu composition. It looks like it is going to be the Aphelios Lulu. I'd still just go with the Jinx if I'm Den Voxner. In fact, I've discussed this particular thing with him before because he has done the Aphelios Lulu attempts into Jinx before as well. I'm curious to see what they do, though. There are other potential avenues you could go against an Aphelios Lulu, especially in the current patches. We never really get to see Cogmore into it. Ezreal is in a really strong position and has really good range. And there are also AP champions that we don't necessarily see on bot. But I would ultimately expect a Jinx now from Nativz in response to Verdant. Verdant should pick jungle. Yeah, there's the vibe.
Yeah, and Voxner was in chat yesterday telling the people that we have forgotten about his bot lane Syndra, right? Like but it used to be a signature pick for him as well, but it is going to be the Jinx as you're talking about. Jinx into Aphelios. We've seen this a little bit. We've seen this a lot, right? And there's just no two ways about that. Going into the bans here now, top lane and mid laners kind of in the air, so going to be interesting to see where those are going to take us here. You know, we talked about this.
You're going to look at support counterpick next for Nativz. You'd probably want to ban Away Fresh, maybe ban Tarm Away as well if you're Verdant, depending on how good you think Lulu will be in that situation. The mid bans are interesting. They know that they want to go for counterpick support, so they don't want a blinded mid lane on the side of Verdant that they would struggle to deal with. So they're going to target Niter. They're going to be like, we don't want you to get one of these super blindable champs. I would not be surprised if the next one is an Orianna ban, because Niter's Orianna has always been a very strong pick. Rakan is the first ban. I think if the second ban's Fresh, this makes sense. Rakan's just really strong on its own. And is insane in team fights. If they're ever able to get a flank situation, its CC covers basically the whole team multiple times. So very common pick, very good ban. I think it's going to be Orianna Fresh bans, and then they'll be forced to try to pick something into the Lulu next. It's going to be the Syndra ban. Interesting. So Nita could potentially get an Orianna with a Bull delivery system and have a double shields comp with a Philios.
And Nita, one of those mid laners
what Vladdy will do about that.
Yeah, and Nita is one of those mid laners. You're talking about how Omen and Envy carry, they kind of want to play these control mages more as like an assassin here, but like whereas Nita is very much a control Orianna player.
I think you could just do Orianna now, by the way, and then do Fresh later. Oh god, the theory here. Okay, so first off, this could be a flex between mid and bot. And next, the theory here is very simple: heals versus shields, right? Shields allow you to do more damage within the moment. Heals heal up all the damage that has been done there over time, right? Theoretically, heals always end up winning. Soraka ends up outscaling stuff like the Lulu. They're figuring that there is no such kind of damage that the affiliates will be able to tank if the sustain of the Jinx is just far too much because of the overload with the Soraka. The Scion's a really interesting pick here. The Zillion Hover was a strange one. And there is a fresh pick that they're not... Can Nita do Lulu mid? People have been doing Lulu mid and solo queue. And Fresh would be a really good pick in towards the Soraka here. No, they're just going to go Victor and be incredibly boring.
That's disappointing. I was hoping maybe they would have flipped something out and maybe pulled the side mid, which was something Nida got known for back when he played on SMS in 2020, and he really had his big breakthrough before he got pulled over to Mad Lions Madrid. Sadly, though, not going to happen. I would have loved to see it. It would have been a great throwback regardless, though. He gets the Victor. I think he's going to do fine in the lane on that. Just try and, build up a 30-40 CS lead and walk out of lane victorious, you could say, which is something we saw Nida do a lot in Spring Split. The counter, though, locked in against a lot of HP, well, it's AP and true damage in form of the going for the Shikari.
Yeah,
it
also
is Cassante mid into the Victor. I like it. It could be Cassante into a Scion mid, but I doubt it somewhat. Yeah, no, it's going to be Cassante in towards the Victor mid with the Gwen counter pick in towards Scion. Yeah, I like that. I think Cassante is a better mid laner than it is a top laner. You have a lot more options with the Wolves in mid lane to do your kidnaps and do your stat change. Yeah, overall, the big thing about this composition, I'm thinking, is that later on in the game, because you have a split pushing top with the Gwen, the ultimate from Soraka has so much value in those circumstances, and you're basically always playing not 1v1 against the Gwen, but 1v1.5, you could think, because the Soraka has that global heal that she'll be able to use at those points in the game. Interesting composition by Nativz. A much more standard comp by Verdant, and that doesn't take away from its power. It's a very powerful composition if they can get on top of the Jinx. And the Jinx has a lot of protection. You have to go through the Wookiee, you have to go through the Cassante, you have to go through a Soraka's silence, and you have to get through the Soraka's effective HP on towards the Jinx. If you get through all of that, then you can win the game. But it's a big if. A lot is on them Voxnay. That guy mispositions and your whole composition falls apart. But otherwise, you should see Nativz just slowly win the game.
Another thing that's also worth noting with the Victor pick coming through is that is actually one of Vladdy's most played champion historically speaking as well. It's one of the champions he's been playing the most compared to since he started competing at all, and is one of it's one of his best champions on a win rate perspective as well. So I don't necessarily think that has a massive impact in the strategy, right? Victor just slots in very well, but it does mean that Vladdy has a very good understanding of how this matchup in the mid lane will be played in the laning phase, which could end up being a pretty important thing when you're playing these melee into range matchups, right?
Yeah, very much could be. Cassante matchups do generally come to, did I land Q? If so, Q again. If not, then I don't know, sucks boy, try again later. But yeah, I think it should help him understand the ranges at which Victor is actually vulnerable and play with a lot of confidence there. You do have one-shot potential against something like a Victor at certain stages of the game. Hopefully he goes for it if he gets the ability to do so. It's just a very interesting combo overall. That guy, you've got mostly to press R on whoever attempts to go on top of them Voxnay. Most of that composition is designed. We walk forward and play with our them Voxnay's range, with Jinx's range, I should say, and just try to win the game that way. Interesting longsword start from the Jinx. I would have assumed he'd match Cull, but maybe they're saying that they don't believe that they win trades early as hard as they think. Lol.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a true fact. I remember him talking about that. That was back when they played for Demise. I think Vico, now an editor by the way. I think he has been editing videos for Björksen before. Reckless as well on the YouTube. Later that split he played Garen with Rakan. He played Garen with Rakan as well. I didn't actually know that though. I do also remember him bringing out the Lee Sin bot lane. Voxney is a very versatile player. It just, when he goes to the mages, I just don't instantly think of success, because I remember him playing some mages every now and then on Tricked, and that didn't go too hard. Regardless though, he is able to try new stuff, and he's very, very fun to work with as he looks for his third NLC title to kick off yet another split. He's won the past 2 summer splits. Can he do it again here with Nativz?
Yeah, I mean, before last split, we were able to say that Voxney had won every single split they play in the NLC. Now we've kind of been bartered down to he's won every single summer split he's played in the NLC. There's a lot of hopes on this guy to maintain one of those kinds of streaks. The thing that can't be said is that this guy is being a disappointing player at any point. While he's had his tenure in the NLC, he's one of the best rookies that we've had coming in for a while. I guess you could effectively say since Bean, who came in from Italian Tier 1. But he's definitely one of the best to ever have promoted straight into the NLC itself.
I think that's one of the things that is so much more, not so much more impressive, but very impressive as well about the Vox is the fact that he came from lower down in our own little regional league system, right? He came over from the UKLC. Before that, he played in LCD and very many other Danish leagues like that as well. So he came through our own little, talent system, not someone who played in another ERL Division 1 and just had their rookie split in the NLC. This was an up-and-coming name who had made their name only in our own ecosystem. And I'm so impressed with that. And, he got his trip over to Mad Lions Madrid alongside Nida trying to make that roster work. They weren't able to, finishing 9th in the spring season, and then he was shipped back to the NLC with Dusty, where he, as you said, won yet another split.
Yep, with Niter as well on that Ruddy lineup, right? Niter and Voxney are actually meeting each other as rivals, but they were teammates in the split beforehand. On that top lane, a very good start for the Gwen, by the way, bullying this Scion, slow pushing a wave in. Interesting to see if that's going to change the map dynamic at all, because the Scuttle topside is starting, but Vi is on the other side of the map right now. So I wonder what's going to happen here, because you could see a double Scuttle opportunity occurring for the Wukong, right? It could be that Gwen tries to contest this topside Scuttle while Wukong secures bot side Scuttle, and if so, Vi doesn't get anything, so she's trying to go now.
And well, she just hold up breath for that trade, really. And talking about, former teammates facing each other and all that, there is one I want to point out as well. It is the first split that Voxney had in the NLC. He was teammates with Texa, obviously making a surprise run, with Trick going all the way into the final and winning that in a reverse sweep against Fnatic Rising. So Texa will be looking to take down his former teammate once again, just like he did last playoffs with Verdant against Ruddy. This time though, he's on the wire, very specifically targeting Voxney in the team fights.
Yeah, I mean, targeting the Voxney in the team fights here is going to be quite a difficult task for anyone. Scion is definitely the one that's going to have the easiest time doing it, right? Press R, become unstoppable, try to remain unstoppable until you get on top of them Voxney. If you have flash, maybe you even just suicide in for it, right? If you can get the first lockdown, maybe the rest of your team can follow up. A lot's on that Scion, but the Gwen wants to punish groupings the same way that the Gwen wanted to function the first game. But Gwen wasn't quite able to get that off, right? The enemy team was already too far ahead with all those 2v2s that are happening in mid lane at that point, and as a result, even though the Gwen was able, you could see her getting pressure on the map at some points, it was already too late. Objectives could be done too fast. They didn't even need all 5 of them to contest their opponents. Shikai going for a big trade here.
He's really going in for it, but
I would expect Nyla to be the most impactful in this game, but not really as a Scion. That's a bit of an interesting thing.
Yeah, it is a very interesting thing in the draft, right? Because we really talked about it. This new Verdant lineup should be able to just play around Nyla even better than the last one, but I mean, they're allocating their resources elsewhere in the draft, and I'm just interested to see how that will work out, because we've been talking a bit about plug and play, and if there's any roster that I thought would be plug and play, it was definitely this Verdant roster, because I just thought they brought in good new players who would fit into the philosophy they played just last split, keeping their core, but looks like they're wanting to change that coming into the summer split, putting Nyla on the tank in the first game, and I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah, I mean, well, Let's see if we just see him bash out 3 longswords in his first back or something like that. But you could see that with Naito, you may just want to go for a more traditional team fight team. It's not like Naito and Gooby are bad players by any means. Yes, Nyla was the superstar before. Maybe there's just less pressure now on having to make Nyla that superstar on your team, and you can just try to play a simpler style, because Verdant, they do have the simpler draft. Yes, it all gets outranged by the Jinx, but we've seen teams struggle to play with ranged kite-back comps before. We rarely see a team struggle to just walk forward.
Walking to Vladdy here tries to force the fight. Stefan taking a bit of damage from Gooby as they are forced out of their own bot side river. That will be the Scotland going over to the hands of Texer, who can secure it easily. The fight though is broken out down here towards the bot lane. But they should be able to get out not a lot of damage from any of these AD carries early on. And Veteran, I will also force myself to be corrected. Before he came into the NLC in 2021 spring with Trick, Denvoxne had one split of NLC under his belt. I was with Barrage in the initial summer 2020 split, where they finished 4th and then got and then finished 5th and 6th in playoffs.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable. A man of your caliber, Duckling.
I mean, I had to fact check myself because I thought about, I think I actually saw him in the NLC before, and I did. He did obviously also play in the Nordic Champions, where he got his first EU Masters appearance with Bucks Vipers, where they finished 2nd. That was the roster including Hidden, the Nuno one trick in jungle, now XL coach, and Poulsen in the mid lane.
Yeah. I have to say, looking at the way that initial bot side play happened, yes, you've gotten the scuttle off there, but you also do see some of the power that's open to Verdant if Jinx isn't able to maintain range, if Jinx isn't able to get items early. You have fleet footwork plus boots plus cull very early on from Aphelios. This guy is a very powerful trading tool in his own right now. It's lethal tempo, and instead your usual... What is the name of that item that Jinx has, actually? I don't think I've ever learned the name of that item. Noon Quiver. Oh, yeah. The Noon Quiver that Jinx has, much less good for trades, much better off in lane in terms of helping you clear out those minions and just generally giving you nice stats. But if what you want to do is win an elongated fight scenario, then what Gooby has is what you would want. So if a initial contest around this Drake was to happen, I would put the odds on Gooby there, and if a contest around Herald is going to happen, which it looks like is starting to happen now, I'm not sure if Nativz actually want to be hard contesting it. They need to blow someone up early, and they don't have really lockdown on their team to be able to secure that. Normally a Jinx composition has a lot of elements of lockdown, similar to how a Viego comp from last game is, because they want to get that one-shot first reset on Jinx. But there's not much lockdown here.
Texer in trouble, forced to flash Def, and flashes forward to catch the Q, and that's just the first blood. Secured by Twist, as now they're gonna come more actually. Gooby might be in trouble, caught by the W.
Yeah.
Flash and Ghost pop. That's such a good exchange there for Nativz. First blood Herald and double sums out of Gooby.
Yep, I mean, Gooby had White Gun up there, so Gwen didn't want none of that and didn't move forward with DV. DV reset twice on that fight, actually. Once with the rocket that he landed on towards his opponent there, on towards Texer, and the second time off of the Herald itself. Jinx is still do reset off the Herald, so that was a really nice one that he could get to try to land more damage on Gooby, but the damage really isn't there alone right now. You have that rocket to try to get you the first reset in the fight, but you're still very much reliant on your team. Luckily, your team has a Wukong. Wukong is pretty powerful. Some would say broken, some would say Riot, how is this being allowed to occur since 13.5? Some would, not saying I would, but I'm not saying I would right here. And Wukong able to deal out that damage. Twist picking up the kills a bit weird, but still, you do see how the composition should function. At the same time, Vi almost got away, right? Vi did burn Flash, Vi did burn Q, but you could easily see if she was closer to the wall initially, maybe Wukong doesn't pick up that kill, maybe you don't get that reset there. You probably still force them off Herald, but this could be an issue later on in fights where having that lockdown, because your damage is not going to be as strong relative to the defensive items that Taxer, that Scion, that Lulu even will be able to build, that it could be an issue that you don't have the lockdown to guarantee the one-shot.
And as we have now hit the 10-minute mark, the game is still pretty much dead even. The only thing really differentiating the two teams being that first blood. Obviously the Herald still in Stefan's pocket. We're waiting to see where he finds the window. There are so many plays to be taken, and he has 3.5 minutes to find a window he can capitalize on.
Yep, and I need to shift this so I see the timings. Okay, cool. So the initial Mountain Drake is actually going to be pretty powerful if you're able to get it onto the Verdant comp because it's so shields heavy, and shields carry resistances through. I would be worried if there was more lockdown on Nativz about Taxa there. As is, he just has to walk back to his team, and he knows he's going to be fine in the long run. Shield compositions, on every shield, your resistances carry over. So the resistance boost that one gets from the Drake actually carries through very hard onto every person on Verdant. So contesting this early, really good thing for Nativz to try to do. I also think they feel that they win fights at this point, and certainly Verdant seem to feel they do as well. Verdant will have a lot of power later on in the game, but they're going to have this big mid-game spike, and the Jinx is on the other side, so you have to think that's not going to last forever, right? Jinx now 2 levels away from 9. That's when her range really becomes unbearable for Gooby on the Aphelios, and the rest of the team is going to have to step up.
So the freedom the Verdant have now won't last forever, that's what I'm hearing, as the range will slowly but surely become more and more of a nuisance, and a thorn in the side of Verdant, as the game so far has developed quietly, and considering, you know, the action we had in the first 2 games, the shifts back and forth in gold lead, this is a more cool, calm and collected. I would think this is our game of the week, our 2 pre-tournament favorites, facing off against each other. So many former teammates, so many former NLC veterans returning to our league to show that they still got it at the highest level here in the north. And Nativz as well, I think they have a lot to rewrite history after a very disappointing first split in the NLC, finishing dead last with 1 or 2 victories. Now with this roster, you know, the expectations have definitely risen on this organization.
I mean, these were the 2 plug-and-play lineups, right? These were the guys who adorned our S tier on the tier list. And getting to see them face off in the first week, I think is brilliant, because it doesn't mean that we're just going to see 2 of them, you know, stomp all over teams that maybe previously we thought they would stomp over. Now more of a question.
Ooh, they didn't want this.
They have lockdown
really
on their own
play
team.
him.
Jinx
And
is
I gotta
coming
go
in.
towards Stefan early on, but the silence is a really, really big thorn in Texas side. And now he's the one in trouble. Kupi though, thrown into the team with the all-out and taken down. The kill goes over to Voxney. Needle now in the fight. Looks for the kill and will be able to secure it with the unstoppable onslaught. Flash forward, he hits the smash down as well. Taxa finds Twist, and the fight looks so good for Verdant at the moment, but they're low. Voxney still heading away. Neither though.
Stefan?
Full HP pretty much taken down to half. Voxney, he's untouched really, but he's out of mana. He can't really continue the fight, and in the end, that's a 1 for 2 in favor of Verdant.
Then Voxney hit so many autos and the opponents played that fight really well, was able to secure the reset with the rocket early, but you can see right now that Aphelios in the hands of Gooby was just stronger at the start of the fight, and the Scion was practically unkillable on the items that then Voxney had. Practically unkillable. The moment Nyla came in, yes, he's not on the carry, but he definitely carried the later portions of the fight. And with the damage that Gooby was able to get with his white gun before Scion came in, he was able to immediately execute Vladdy. The fight was now a 4v4 again, except he had this full tank, basically undamaged Scion on the side of Verdant, and there were no responses on Nativz, and there won't be any responses for quite some items. That Scion's only going to get tankier and tankier, and it's going to take a while before then Voxney can be able to deal with it.
Should he build Blade of the Ruined King second item? Just to be able to do something against the max HP, or how should he itemize here best?
I mean, you're thinking more about stuff like LDR, which the second component of LDR's damage is the percentage HP. Bork is an item that you would rather get like first item, because it's in its own stats scale off quite hard later on, and it delays big 3 item cores that do much more damage overall. The actual counterplay is crit, and what you would prefer would be a Zeal item over Bork if you're building for crit, and Vladdy is better.
Yeah, I mean, and if you are Verdant, you'd prefer to Vladdy, and you find him right there, and his return to the NLC so far are a bit sour here in the first 15 minutes, as he finds himself on the back end of 2 deaths.
Okay, I'm done choking, and Goobster, I saw that you were on white-purple, alright? I know something's gone wrong there, alright? Other people might not know, but I know.
He can fix
Gooby,
it though,
right?
he can fix it.
I've been Aphelios watching for 2 years, buddy, alright? None of this, you're not messing around with me on this one, alright? I saw you end up back on red-green, alright, in the top side fight as well. Okay, like this. Let's see if he fixes
Why
it.
are you calling him out like that? Come on, he's gonna fix it.
Yeah, you gotta let him know. You gotta let him know.
I mean,
right.
I got
I
Jack
just watched
Spector's guide on
Liam
how
Cole,
to fix it on my
alright?
TikTok.
Do you know who Liam Cole is?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you don't.
I mean,
No one knows who Liam Cole is.
yeah,
and yet Liam Cole just
I knew who
stomped
Liam Cole was
on
before he was
Aphelios.
Liam Cole. I knew who he was before that.
Okay, wait one
I knew he
sec,
was
have to look
AF4.
something up on Leaguepedia. Alright.
Yeah, let me search for his name then. I'm gonna find his history.
Cole.
No, I don't think you're gonna find him under that. You're gonna find him under AF4.
Actually,
And if you go in-
gonna find him.
Yeah, he played for Fluminense Sport Academy, then PG Talent. He played in the Winter Showdown. I remember that.
Oh, I
Yeah,
found
yeah.
what
I casted
wanted.
that tournament.
He's Danish. Amazing.
Who would have thought that? I remember him playing in the Winter Showdown 2021 season tournament. He beat Nativz, yeah, but Nativz had such a good roster. I was actually surprised they got knocked out because we thought they got knocked out by randoms. And they did. But now Airsport is back to take revenge.
Are you gonna be voting against Nativz when they're against Liam Cole, the man, the myth, the legend?
The Nativz killer, I guess we can make that
Yeah.
storyline born. I don't think we've ever had a player on NLC of this much airtime when they're not playing the game. Regardless, though, I'm enjoying the conversation. We're talking about Danish talent. I can talk about that for ages.
Oh yeah. Well, Goopster here, I'm just saying, is the inferior Aphelios as far as Danish talent is concerned.
Has he fixed his guns yet?
Based on one gun rotation that I have witnessed.
Based on
The
one
game's
gun rotation.
based on one.
Absolute trash. I mean,
Yeah,
he has had an off
true.
split. Give him some time to get back into the gun rotations.
True. I mean, observers, can we get a focus? Oh my god, it's a disaster.
No, he can fix this. Now it's back to the standard. He can easily fix this.
Wait, he's on 50 red and on 19 green.
Yeah, he needs to use the red first though. I've watched Jack Spector's TikTok on this, and I know for sure.
Nah, but he's had white before this, no? So it's gone into white green. So you actually need to exhaust green, then exhaust purple, then exhaust blue, no?
He just reset his gun, so now he's back to the starting point. And that's
Yeah, but that means
why I think he needs to use the
that
red
means
first.
white's just before the green. So you actually want to exhaust green now.
Okay, so he's doing it correctly.
And
oh,
now he's on
yeah.
now he's on white red. Now he's on white red. Now you exhaust
it's
white and now you exhaust red.
It's so messed up that it actually works, I guess.
It's like, yeah, so I actually figured it was white before green there. But instead he actually had white after red there. But he still fixes it so long as he exhausts white now. You don't have to look at him anymore, observers, but thank you.
This is
he's on
very, very
36, 35 right now. He need, like, legit, if I'm him, I'm just spamming Q on my white at this point. Because you're 3 minutes 40 away from Infernal. You may as well just try to cycle yourself up. Like, he's actually really messed it up here, no? Because if he's on, like, green, white, red... Actually, my lord.
Dude, I've lost the plot. I don't know what's real anymore, to be honest.
If he's on green, white, red, then he's going to end up on, like, red, purple. And if he's on red, purple, by the time of, like, oh, God.
Yeah,
he's gonna... Yeah, if he's on the time of Baron is what I'm thinking, because Baron's in a minute.
Oh.
He's gonna have the most useless gun setup. So now he's, like, exhausting red, and he's gonna be on white, purple, which is even more useless. Please tell me purple's not the next thing. Please. He's spam exhausting this red, by the way. He's spam exhausting it.
Well, no, maybe he's gonna exhaust... Oh, no, he's
Vote in the chat. Vote in the chat what you think's about to happen. Vote in the chat. Is it gonna be
Why are you
white,
laughing?
purple, or
Don't
red,
take the mick
purple?
out of my Danish brothers like
Or
that, okay? He
something
knows
else.
what he's doing.
I wanna see in the chat. I wanna see, because we're on a bit of a delay. I wanna see in a few minutes what chat thinks the next conversation's gonna be.
I don't know what's next. It's either blue or purple, right?
We should, yeah. It's probably if it's red, white, blue. Oh god, it's over. It's over. Oh my god, no. Oh, I can't.
You know what?
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna give him a pass because he has been.
Herald's being dropped for Baron. Let's talk about that. Herald's dropped for Baron. All right. Both Sa and Cassante are rolling in. All right. If Nativz want to win a fight, now is the time.
I mean, purple blue isn't that bad of a combo.
Purple
right?
blue's good, yes, but having white purple as I was coming out was terrible. And you could have easily just exhausted white and then had green, white, red rotation, which would give you a really long rotation.
Oh yeah,
for any
green
objective.
white is good. Green white is.
But now
really
he's going to
good
be
for the range.
guaranteed. Now he has two things guaranteed. He's guaranteed to be on white purple, and he's guaranteed to be on green red. So there are 2 times where you just don't have an AD carry. That's what's so egregious about it.
I mean, I appreciate the way you phrase it, but it's very direct. But yeah, I can accept it.
Yeah.
Hopefully he fixes it. Maybe we can send him the TikTok that Jack Spector made about how to fix your guns. I know he made one.
He made a TikTok. Based,
yeah,
actually.
I found it on my For You page. But I mean, I don't play serious League of Legends at the moment, so I didn't really notice it. I just
Get
I mean,
that
it's cool.
bag, Jack. Jack also an AD carry from the NLC. You know, I remember when he was on like some 9th place NLC team.
I mean, I met him in Aram recently, and I asked him if he was gonna remain on Team Heretics, and he said yes. And I leaked it to the press.
Good job.
No, I didn't. I didn't leak it. I also said cool, and then he didn't answer me. He random checked me.
Good job. Neither team seems to really care about doing this Baron.
No one wants the Baron.
The reason is that neither of them really had good pressure on the Baron itself, right? You don't really delete it as the Verdant team. You don't really delete it as the Nativz team. But this Drake is a really contestable point for either. So the next 40 seconds, things will be decided. That's why you have this grouping happening from both teams in mid lane. Neither are looking to contest top side. You have Gwen already on bot, but Sion's looking for an engage. Look at Nyla on the back there. He's waiting to ask if this is what counts for war.
I mean, we've seen some action in the other games, but this is what the peak NLC League of Legends, I assume, looks like. Them just right there, staring each other down in the mid lane.
But that's actually what Aphelios Lulu wants. That's the theory, right? Basically, do you remember Juggermore from way back? You and your diapers back when Juggermore was a thing, weren't you?
Come on, man. I played in Season 3.
So basically,
I was 9 when I started playing. Come on, man.
Juggermore. And Gooby was doing that with Wendell, right? Like on there. So that's the theory behind the comp. They got a lot of pressure from basically using Aphelios as the front line.
He's using green guns now. He's gonna try and change something up in his system here.
This is good. This is really good pairing that he's got here.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah, he fixed it. Look, he's too good. Now Stefan on the flank though. He wants to fight and they go in. They find them initially. In the front line is Nila and he's so tanky. So in the back line, it is Verdant cleaning up the front line of Nativz and still Verdant survive with theirs for now. The Drake though goes over to Nativz. The recall comes through from Nina, so he's not in the fight at the moment. It's Nila finally goes down on Invox as the resets. And with the red buff, he can look to chase them down. Gubi though steps up outside the bush. He wants a surprise damage and he gets the burst, but he doesn't get the kill yet. There he comes in the end, but he falls. It's a trade. It's now Nida has to clean up the fight. It's a shutdown over to Gubi and then Invox. It's a big amount of gold and more gold will be funneled into Verdant here as they win the fight 4-3.
So praise on to Gooby there. Gooby used the brush there to close the gap between Jinx, so Jinx wasn't able to use her range, was immediately able to go red Q into a lot of boomerangs and into the range he needs to be of the Gale Force to take out the Jinx, basically melee range. He closed all that gap by utilizing the brush on bot side there. Very good thinking in the moment by Gooby. Can I praise Nyla for just surviving for about 5 billion years on Sion? Is that praiseworthy?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Praise it.
He just didn't die. He just couldn't die. He just like, it was insane actually how hard they were trying to kill him, and he just refused to die. It was actually mental, and that bought a lot of time for his team to reposition and start finding windows like the one Gooby did find on towards Denboxne. There was a real risk Denboxne would run away of the fight there, but he didn't think about the brush. Gooby did. Gooby closes the gap. Gooby Gale forces in. Gooby wins the fight with Nyla off of that play.
I mean, the thing is, Nida even got the reset in the fight because of how much time Nila bought. So, definitely praiseworthy to let him survive for that long, as they might be looking for something here. I feel like they want to go. Is my spider sense going off? As,
you have a spider sense? Elise one trick?
No, I hate Elise. Such a bad champion.
Wow.
Oof. Yeah, wow. I mean, I hate a lot of champions in League of Legends. But I have very controversial opinions because I think so.
Don't say that when Spooky's around. Right.
Who's Spooky?
Never mind.
Regardless, though, we're gonna go back to the fight because it's about to happen. Then Buxley could be in trouble. No flash, no ghost, no way out. As he's deleted by Nila. Stefan wants to do something as he tries to assassinate Gooby, but instead he himself will fall. The AD carry of Verdant survive, and now they can turn their attention to the Baron.
Verdant are in a commanding position now. We won't talk about what I'm seeing on my screen there. Verdant are in a commanding position now in the fight. Vi and Sion finding their way into the Jinx. That's what they absolutely needed. And Nativz, there are a couple of things they have in their composition. A big one for them was lockdown. And right there, they felt the lockdown. Verdant having their lineup that's being able to set themselves up so effectively. Okay, if he goes white exhaust into green exhaust now, I think it's okay-ish. All right, like this is so weird. Though now he's going like purple, white, green, whatever. I'm not.
Look. He's made it work so far. So I'm not gonna
just
talk more about it. I'm gonna accept that he
It's so weird. It's so
I have
weird.
faith enough in Guppy. He's
Is that
he's an
Imperial
innovator.
Mandate on Victor? Base, by the way.
Yeah, that is
That's
based. I've seen I saw that on Twitter. I can't remember who's playing it, but was it Faker maybe? Someone high elo Korean guy was playing it, and it looked really broken.
I just love that you heard like high Korean guy and it was this insta faker. You know, it's like
No,
me
it
who
was
never
a
watches
pro. It was a pro
basketball being
Korean
like,
player, but I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Faker.
It's good though. It's good. Like it's. I actually think right now in the state of Imperial Mandate, if your champion either has innate slows or has Rylai's in any capacity, I think Imperial Mandate's a really good item. It's super cheap, gives you CDR, gives you mana regen. It's very good for mages. So Aurelion Sol can build it third. Victor does have access to the kind of CC you need to proc Imperial Mandate on his W, on his R. He has good ways to use it, so I think buying that second item is a great spike, given that right now, the guy on your team who's doing a lot is Gooby. Gooby on the 3 items there. You want to emphasize that advantage you have with the Lulu, basically become like a secondary-ish support that does a lot of damage to him. I just made Imperial Mandate sound really broken, but it is. And just really play through the composition that way. I think it's a really good pickup.
Yeah, this is just control for Verdant as they get Verdant down to half. Force him to be healed up by Twist, who has now himself been poked down to half. There's a Drake spawning in 30 seconds. Soul point for Nativz will be the second Drake for Verdant as they likely look to pick it up. But at the moment, the Baron push just seems to continue, and they will likely break open the base here as they can't just go to the bottom lane and try and kill Nilith, because the answer is they can't kill Nilith. And here the base will be broken open. The mid lane tier 3 falls. The inhibitor set to follow as well as the Voxton tries to step up, but you can't scare them away. Guppy is dealing a lot of damage.
Dealing a lot of damage right now. Also on the really strong gun combo here, so very scary prospect.
Is
for
this
Nature
game? If they lose this fight, I think it's might be the game. Guppy is still full HP. Nila is in the front line, soaking up all the damage coming out from the Voxton. So Guppy is just free firing, but he got caught in the flame jumpers. Now they're running down Twitch. They just wanted Voxton, and there they get him. Flash still available for Guppy. He could look for more. He finds another as Nila secures that kill. This will surely just be game, as they're all back to full HP, really, when you think about it. Verdant looks to win the match of the week, the battle of the Juggernauts, and it's the Danish team who comes out on top. 4 Danes and a Finn, a British organization, and what do you get? You get a win in our match of the week.
Hats off to these guys. Sion decided that he just straight up could not die at any point in the